What up? Yes. Hold on here. My hat is off. I'll go no hat. Fuck it. Yo, 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 yo. Welcome to another edition of the Earlverse. Monday Night Raw. It was a good weekend. Had a good time at the Comedy Store Saturday night. Zoom and AC/DC, the two most loyal soldiers in the Earl Skakel army. Always a pleasure. Just watched another episode of Tulsa King. How about those Ducks? Ducks are going to be bad for a long time. Let me tell you that right now. They just their goaltending's a little wonky. Interesting, most interesting. Their defense is a little shoddy. They've got some good young players, Zegras, McTavish, but they're going to be bad for a couple more years. And, they're at the point the Kings were like a couple years ago. I mean, unfortunately, in the NHL, you got to, after you're good, you got to be bad for a while. And that's the shitty thing with the fan base, because you got to sales pitch them on, hey, like the Kings were like, we won 2 cups in 3 years, almost won a third in the middle of the year. We had to pay the people who helped do all those things for us. So we got to suck for a bit. But Pat Verbeek is a very good general manager. But the last couple years, they've kind of been in no man's land where they've almost made the playoffs, but they didn't. So, they don't get that number 1 pick. You got to be like the Sharks and just be fucking horrible. I think they've had some pretty high draft picks, and, you got a sales pitch free agents, hey, you want to come play in San Jose? We're going to get our asses handed to us most games, but we'll trade you at the deadline to a contender. But do you want to go through that to get to the deadline? Like the Kings are in kind of the opposite position where, they don't have too much trouble getting free agents to sign here because they have a good team. And outside of Kopitar and Doughty, they're pretty young. I mean, they've got some older guys like Joel Edmondson and whatnot, but for the most part, Byfield's young, Fogel's young, Turcotte's young, and he looks great. You've got Akil Thomas, who's in the mix, Comedy Store favorite. Their defense is pretty young, minus Doughty. Goaltending's a little wonky. Kemper's hurt. Big save Dave Rittich. He's a good backup. And then it's a little question mark. You've got Portillo, my buddy Jacob Ingham, St. Hilaire, the goalie in the queue. But in terms of the Ducks, I don't really, it's there's not a lot of positivity for you Duck fans. Double live stream. I don't know who Matt is. But he probably doesn't know who I am. So it all works out in the end. I can't keep up with everyone. Is he a comic or what's his deal? And then what did I do last night? Well, last night was a big sports night. You had the Kings and the Ducks. You had the Steelers and the Jets. And some nocturnal activities we don't have to get into on a stream. And of course, taking care of baby Lois. Well, if Dr. Nova's here, I know the Chicken Man might not be far behind. I don't think there is, to be honest with you. Okay, used to write for Rolling Stone. I watched that Ozzy Osbourne ceremony. It was kind of cool to see all those guys on stage. Man, Ozzy don't look too good. He's definitely in my death pool. Um, and I got to be honest with you, Wolfgang Van Halen nailed the Crazy Train solo. He's very talented. Like if his name was just Wolfgang Jackson, you'd be like, this guy's an amazing guitar player. But because he's Van Halen's kid, I think he kind of doesn't get the credit. But he killed that Crazy Train solo with the double tapping, and then Zach Wild was great. Jelly Roll, I don't know if he would have been my choice to sing "Mama, I'm Coming Home." Oh, there is 2 games. Oh, okay. Well, they all follow which way the wind is blowing. We got 15 days till the big one. Let's try and make the election night stream a real all-timer. I don't know if he lost 200 pounds. I mean, I stood next to him at the Rainbow. That's a big boy. I mean, he's not like Ralphie May big, but he ain't too far behind him. I mean, I would guess. I mean, he's easily between 300 and 400 pounds. Who's Maynard? Can you explain to me the blonde guy? I had no idea who that was. Uh, I mean, Jelly Roll seems like a nice guy. He seems like I was just watching Tulsa King. He was on Tulsa King. I mean, he's really getting his 15 minutes in. Uh, oh, okay. I thought it was Whitfield Crane from Ugly Kid Joe. Yeah, I'm a little out of the loop. I don't know much about Tool at all. I mean, I do. Uh, would have been nice for anyone to say something nice about Jake E. Lee. Um, or Bob Daisley or Lee Kerslake. I mean, so many guys helped Ozzy be relevant, and they just got the shaft. See ya. Thanks. We'll take the publishing. We'll take it from here, guys. But that's the Osborne family. But Zach Wild played great. Looks the same. He hasn't really aged at all. It's kind of funny to see older pictures of him when he was like a young glam rocker, and now he's like some Hell's Angels meets the Mayans, you know, Nordic warrior. Okay, see, I don't know. I mean, my friend Frankie plays with Wolfie and Mammoth, but I don't know a lot about. And I saw Mammoth play in Santa Ana. I saw them play when they opened up for Metallica on a Friday night, and then Sunday night they played their own show, and they're pretty good, man. I mean, I couldn't name you one of their songs, but I was entertained for an hour and a half. And Wolfie, he's not like the greatest front man in the world, but he's not David Lee Roth, but I don't think Mammoth is positioning themselves to be like commercial pop band. So they just play, and they're all good. Um, so it's nice to see Wolfie get some recognition. I mean, like he hung in there with Randy Rhoads last night. Been too long. I lost to ask you nothing about that. We talk AEW in here, Shawnetta. AEW for life. Kenny Omega, Maxwell Jacob Friedman, all the hits. And if you want to go old school WWE, the great Sid Vicious. Rest in peace. I've been in court watching the Sarah Boone trial. Crazy. I don't know who that is. I'm going to frame it. I mean, I wish it was signed, but I will get it framed. So when at some point I do have a wall behind me, I will have a very interesting looking wall that will entertain you guys, hopefully. And yeah, Trump seemed to go over well with the Steelers, but then my friend who's a Democrat sent me a clip of cross stadium view, and someone was lightly booing, and she made it seem like he was booed out of the stadium. So, people send you what they want you to see. I do find it funny NBC didn't recognize it at all. Like, you can bet damn sure if that was Kamala Harris that they would have done a 5-minute segment on it on NBC. But 15 more days on basically 2 weeks, and it's on. And there will be an election night stream, and let's just get it all. Let's get 100 people in here and 100 likes. That's the goal. 2 weeks from tomorrow night. I can't do win by two and melt in 5-hour streams though, so I'm gonna have to maybe start the stream at 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time and do it for maybe 2 hours. I can't I can't do what some of these streamers do. I can barely do an hour without going, okay, I've talked enough. But I'm also legit talking for an hour. I'm not stream sniping anyone. I'm not doing any of that nonsense. Sarah Boone locked her fiance in a suitcase and wouldn't let him out. She was loaded, took a video of him screaming from inside the suitcase for his life. She went to bed and passed out. Sounds like a few of the women from my past. But I'm too big to fit into a suitcase. So, you know, I mean, there's some fucked up people out there, man. Um, you know, it's how big was the suitcase or how small was he? Yeah, I mean, I did once get locked as a kid. I put myself in one of those. It was almost like a carrying case for a band with the wardrobe, not racks, but the wardrobe cases they use that you see standing up in a locker room or backstage. And I couldn't get out. I was fucking scared, man. And then I think my brother got me out. Uh, yeah, I don't know. There's something about that. I mean, I'm sure the Undertaker don't give a fuck what people think about him, and his brother Kane. Actually, they're not really brothers. I just found that out. No, I'm just kidding. I think he's a Republican, so I get it. I mean, I'm sure the Undertaker at this point is like, I don't give a fuck what people think about me. So, but isn't he a Republican, Ross? I don't know Kane's politics outside of a Katie Vick. That's a deep cut reference for you WWE freaks. But we don't get a lot of WWE freaks in here. We get the AEW knuckleheads in here, all five of us. Um, and I think a week from Wednesday, there's going to be a very good um, AEW Dynamite. Shelton Benjamin will be taking on Swerve Strickland. Maybe this is when Bobby Lashley debuts. Oh, yeah, I mean, she must be pretty strong. Yeah, I don't. I used to be a court TV junkie, but I don't watch stuff like that anymore. Um, I'm too busy watching shit on YouTube, and that's one of my favorite Norm Macdonald jokes. He said court TV recorded record ratings during the OJ trial, and as soon as the verdict was announced, they went out of business. Uh, yeah, I mean, I'm not. There's really no trials right now that are grabbing my boat. Um, Although I have heard that due to Michael Connolly's 4-part miniseries on the Wonderland murders that, they are kind of revisiting the cold case that is the Wonderland murders. So that should be, interesting. Um, so Nancy Grace, I mean, she seems, like she'd be cool off camera. Um, you know, she just her on-screen characters, just for shtick and whatnot. Um, but, I've never met her. Yeah. Well, that reminds me, I saw a buddy at the racetrack once and he was drinking. I'm like, "Bro, I thought you said you quit drinking." He looked at me and goes, "I did, but I didn't say I quit lying." Hello. Am I cousins with who? I'm cousins with RFK Jr. His mom, Ethel Skakel, was my dad's sister, James Skakel. So, man, who knows? What that would be funny if the first time I get on Gutfeld, RFK Jr. was there. He's like, "Did you really make all those jokes about my comedy show?" I'll be like, "Yeah, I did, man. How the hell did Mike Binder get on and I didn't?" But, oh, what do you talk about Michael? Oh, that's a different Skakel. Hello. No, I mean, I don't really talk about it because, to be frank, when, that situation happened, um, I was, 8 years old, so, I wasn't, it's not something my family talked about a lot. And certainly when I was, see any of his brothers or sisters, it's not like it's brought up. So, um, I don't have a relationship with him. My sisters do. I do not. What up, animal mother? You are a real mother. So I mean, I've seen him. Like, I've obviously, I think I played golf with him a few times when I was a kid, but I had no idea about that story until later on in life. And I mean, I haven't seen him in 30 years, maybe longer. So I mean, that was one of Ethel's children, um, Queenon. So I was a Kennedy, not a Skakel. Was the abuse of the Menendez? Not to our crew. You know, it's not. Abuse now is much more easy to talk about, uh, and people are open to talking about it more. Whereas, in that area of the '80s, if you got abused, you didn't talk about it. And I shouldn't say it's easier to talk about, but it's more open. The people are more open to talking about what was done to them. Whereas back then, it's like you just kept it to yourself. It's kind of like being gay. Celebrity comes out as being gay. Now it's no big fucking deal. It's like, okay, you're gay, great. But back, that's why Rock Hudson, Robert Reed, even Liberace denied he was gay. Like Stevie Wonder could see Liberace was gay. So times have changed, and I do think it's more palpable to talk about abuse and whatnot. I was invited to the service, but I didn't go because I hadn't seen Ethel since 1998. So it's not like we were homies. Um, I think a lot of RFK Jr.'s brothers and sisters are a little weird around him because he's the what would you say, the black sheep of political talk in that family. The Kennedys are hardcore Dems. He's kind of a hardcore righty. So I know, isn't that crazy? Ethel never remarried, and she trust me, guys like Frank Gifford were wolfing around her a long time, but she was so into Bobby that that no one could have replaced him in her eyes. So yeah, well, who did back then? Uh, yeah, I mean, I don't think the Menendez brothers should be um, freed from prison. They fucking killed two people. Yes, Frank Gifford, the football player, he was always chasing after Ethel. Uh, Okay, Rebel. Well, I mean, Bobby and the Kennedys, they had can you imagine the cheating that went on back in the '60s when there was no TMZ, there was virtually no paparazzi, or the few paparazzi that there was very controlled. So, um, I know, I think, what was that Benny Mardona's song, "Into the Night"? That's a creepy video, holy fuck. It's basically a tutorial on how to stalk a young girl dressing in a negligee. Well, he's a righty compared to uh, the rest of the family. Um, Caroline's son is a cutie. I enjoy him. How's you think he's into? I don't know. I don't know much about that side of Prince Vince coming in hot. Um, I mean, some of those songs from the '70s. Kiss had a song, "Christine 16." Ted Nugent had a song, "Jailbait." Benny Mardona's "Creepy as Fuck." Um, so you know, didn't Jerry Lee Lewis marry his 13-year-old cousin or something? Um, yeah, I don't go on TMZ. Uh, I mean, I don't know. I mean, she knew a lot. I'll just put it that way. I mean, it's kind of like trying to figure out, who killed JFK. A lot of people wanted him and Bobby dead, so it really could be any number of people. And in terms of Marilyn Monroe, she had shit on everyone. Her cardinal sin was writing stuff down. Yowza. Um, so yeah, I mean, Priscilla, didn't Elvis meet her at 14? Um, but I'm the bad guy when I do a joke about it. Oh, I didn't know that. Wasn't that song on Miami Vice? I think I'm getting, I was just watching the Leafs and no, I do not go on TMZ Zumock. No, thank you. Um, so yeah, I remember I'm trying to think what other underage. Well, I mean, of course, Winger in the '80s had their only hit was 17. Uh, Heartbeat, fuck yeah. I mean, I would say my top five. Hold on, let me get my drink. Let me get my drink. Time out, time out. Rockstar Baby Dolls. I would say, my 5 favorite songs from Miami Vice, Dire Straits, Brothers in Arms at the end of, Out Where the Buses Run. Steve Winwood's There's a River when Switek finds Zito killed. Um, I mean, there's so many. Actually, the very Terry Kath or Kath from Chicago. I think it's Tell Me. The very last scene of Miami Vice, the montage. I'm not a weed guy. I'm a rock star energy drink baby. I've never had a drug in my life outside of this shit. So, but I'm not against it. I mean, I'm around so much weed and coke and whatever. I basically do drugs. Not really. I mean, I know in the LA comedy scene a situation where a 22-year-old comic fucked a 16-year-old comic, and I was literally the only one who had a problem with it. I actually had a comic friend of mine who has a daughter saying, "Well, dude, that's close enough." So I've given up speaking out about statutory rape. And I had a female comic, someone I actually really respected. Earl, I had sex when I was 16. It wasn't rape. I'm like, it was not forcible rape. Or maybe we shouldn't say that word. My streams. I got a tough enough problem keeping this stream together. Uh, That's another good, what was it? Tommy Shaw. Stand tall, don't look down, don't put your back against the wall, shoot straight. Girl with a Gun. When they're driving through the Everglades, that's one of my favorite, song. Who are worse people, comics or wrestlers? I mean, I don't have a lot of exposure to bad wrestlers, like, in terms of what they do, so, yeah, but what was the name of it? The Girl with the Golden Gun or just Girl with the Guns? I wish I could play it. Oh, thank you, Shawnetta. This stream is for the fans. The stream is more or less a reward to you people for supporting me, and, like I said, I've tried to break down. We don't talk about the Dabbleverse in here, dislabeled. We don't do that in here. This is a Dabbleverse free. We don't get into that world. Um, Now, if you super chat me, I'll make an allowance. Uh, so you know, I've done the breakdown of obviously my number one goal is to get more subscribers. So I think right now I'm just a shade under 2,600. So I think what gets more subscribers is the shorts videos and the 1 to 2 or 3 minute videos and the Earlverse streams. They don't really get me a lot of new subscribers, but that's a thank you to the subscribers. That it's like, hey, thank you for watching the videos and commenting on them, and for the super chats in the past. Uh, what up, Colt C? I know your streaming choices are limitless. I'm sure someone's streaming right now, but you know what? At some point, I got to go on for an hour. Uh, Shanana, were you? Oh yeah, right. I mean, that's still um, for those of you. I was offered oral sex from the crowd at the Comedy Store on Saturday night. Um, so what up, John Smith? Uh, well, I don't think that was gross. What was his name? Trust me, this girl was a woman. And, I, you know, I never saw the girl after her offer, but, that's sometimes comedy pays not in dollars. So, um, I've never been heckled with, I want to suck your dick right now. And I thought she was kidding. So I was like, okay, we'll come backstage right now. And she literally walked on stage and she went right backstage. Trust me, she knew where it was, which was a little concerning. Uh, I do like Poon, but I'm not against my fans being gay. Uh, so the main room, trust me, she knew right where to go. But that's one of that's why I love the Comedy Store. You don't get shit like that at the Improv or the Laugh Factory or the Concubine Lounge on Hollywood and Highland. Just that's why the Comedy Store is magical. It just is. Uh, so I don't know who Mrs. Ross is. Is that like a Jeff Ross zinger I'm not picking up on? Um, I saw Joe Rogan wearing a Shelby Mustang T-shirt the other day. It made me think about your Shelby escapade. I mean, you'd think I'd get on the podcast just for that story alone, but a tweet at him and we'll tell him that I have an interesting Carol Shelby story. No, Fred, I am drinking a Rockstar. This is my favorite one because it kind of tastes like lemonade, and only, I believe, 25 calories, so not that bad. Barack Obama. Well, you got 2 weeks to do it, baby. Well, I don't want to bore people with the story, John Smith. But I'll give you the what was it? The what were those miniature versions of books? Quick. It had the yellow and black, the Cliff Notes. I'll give you the Cliff Notes version of the story. So, one night my friends called me up about 2, 3 in the morning and said, "Hey, get over here. We got this girl who's like fucking all of us." Of course, they called me at 2 in the morning. They met her at about 8. I would have preferred the call around 8:30, but such was life in my friends' world. So I get there, couldn't find parking because it was permit parking. And so I literally parked my car in the middle of Doheny. If you're familiar with LA, Doheny is a pretty big street in Beverly Hills, or just on the outskirts of Beverly Hills. And I literally left the engine running, the lights were on. I mean, someone could have stolen this car. And so I get up to my buddy. We'll just call him Hot Tub Johnny, as someone has mentioned. You lost me on that at Loving Jeff Ross. Ugh. So I get up there and just it looked like that opening scene in Saving Private Ryan, just bodies everywhere. I mean, this girl looked like Alice Cooper after a 10-song encore. And so I do my business with her and yada, yada, yada. And then I knew my friends were going to treat her like shit. So I said, "Hey, I'll give you a ride home, honey." And she couldn't find her clothes. So she just walks out to the car in her underwear and a blue jacket. So we get in the car and I look over like this, and she had a jacket that said Shelby Motors on it. Now I'm a car guy too. I mean, I don't go to like conventions and shit, but I'm a fan. So I said, "Oh my God, you know Carol Shelby?" She's like, "No, that's my husband." Hello, boing. Do you think you are straight edge, Earl? I am straight edge, Teddy. Tell me about it. This labeled when he was dancing around in his underwear. All these teenage girls had signs saying "fuck me" and "I give good head." No lie, lots of them. I liked. Uh, I liked my "I give good head" sign. What up, Ryan? What up? What up? Yeah, yeah. I mean, I don't want to bore you guys with the story again. So I mean, Jeff Ross is in Orlando this week. I mean, I can't tell you not to go. I mean, I can tell you what he's going to do. He's going to do about 10 minutes of stand up, and then he's going to roast the crowd, probably bring up the feature act to help him roast. I mean, this is not, you know, I don't know. I wouldn't pay 50 to $100 to watch that. Um, yeah, the Ritz crackers, Oh, so my long story short, my friend was like, I wasn't gonna go inside this girl dry after my friends had been porking her for 6 hours. So I'm like, "Hey, Hot Tub Johnny, do you got any rubs, rub-a-dub-dubs?" And he's like, "Go in the kitchen and find something." It's not exactly an endorsement of him having them. So I couldn't find anything, and out of the corner of my eye, I see a Ritz cracker can, which probably would have fit inside of her at this point. So, I'm pretty ingenuitive, so I sat there and said, "Well, I can't use the can, but, the cracker bag, my dick's about the size of one of those." So I very carefully, like, with surgeon-like precision, opened up the cracker bag, poured it out like this, and voila! Or as my new favorite tag team in AEW, MXM Collection does. So, you know, there you go. Same story. Damn you. I did, John Smith, along with 9 of my other friends. So it's really not a brag. He sucked at the Skankfest roast battles, and he was the only judge. Draw whatever conclusion you like from that information. Well, I mean, it's just like I don't know how he's called the roast master when he couldn't even beat Blake fucking Griffin, who'd never battled before. And let's be honest, if you saw that on season 3, he lost that battle, but they rigged in the history of the roast battle. There's been, I think I had the only draw, me and Fifi Dosh, because it was such a good battle, it was just never going to end. So they said, "Fuck it, we got to go." So, and and when you look at who's doing roast battles now, yeah, there's one or two good ones, but most of the people, I mean, if you're doing roast battle at Skankfest, like you've missed the boat on that show. Um, so I bet you did, Chris Mack. Uh, it was nothing. Yeah, yeah. I mean, I was the headliner that night in her pussy. Boing. So like, go see him. I mean, you might like him. I don't expect people to carry on my feuds for me. If I don't like someone, then you guys might like them. Who am I to tell you how to spend your money? Um, I tell you what, though, he'll probably do a meet and greet for free just so he can, whatever. Go up to him and go, "Hey, you and Earl Skakel are my two favorite comics." That'll like ruin his night. Uh, well, I mean, he was pretty old. I'll guess they never had sex, and she had a pretty hyperactive sex drive, to be frank. So, um, I could understand, anytime an older man marries a younger woman, at some point, the older guy's just not gonna be able to go like he used to. Not that I know anyone like that. Sorry, I got a booger in my eye. So, and she was, I think, in her 30s at the time. I mean, she was horned up like nobody. She could have taken on Motley Crue and had energy after. I mean, I told you when I dropped her off at Donald Sterling's hotel that night, she asked me to come up. Like she had literally been fucked from 8 in the morning till about 3, and she still was willing. You ever have to roast someone you don't know about? Well, my first roast battle on TV, I'd never fucking met the guy. My second roast battle on TV against Tom Ballard, who I love, I'd met him once, and we didn't really talk. My third roast battle against Jimmy Carr, I never really met him. Talked to him I think the year before. And my fourth roast battle on TV was Sarah Tiana. We're like very good comedy friends. And then my fifth roast battle I did was K. Trevor Wilson, who I had never met before. So I in LA I would try and battle people I knew, a couple girlfriends and whatnot. So I primarily on television anyway only battled people I really didn't know. Yeah, I mean she was in it to win it, wanted no money and whatnot. That's a woman. Yes, yes. I couldn't have said it any better, Dr. Nova. What year was the gangbang or what year was roast battle? Hello. The gangbang was in the 90s. Roast battle was 2016. Um, Lots of comedians play our performing arts center 5 to yeah. I mean, where do you live, Shawnetta? I don't. I've yeah, you got that right. I've roasted two girlfriends, and we both times broke up about a month or two later. Now I've seen some good battles when it was exes roasting each other. I remember, or not even exes, but people who had hooked up. Like I remember one of my favorite roast battles ever was by two people who didn't really do it. Brant Tobler is a very funny Colorado-based comic, and a very good friend of mine, Jen Murphy. They had hooked up, I think, like once or whatever, and it was not a great experience for either. So their roast battle was pretty funny. Um, so, um, and I've never roasted an ex. I'm sure there's one in particular that people would like to see, and that would be an all-time battle because we both know where the weak spots are, and it would not be a friendly battle. But I will never roast battle again ever. So it's just nothing in it for me. I mean, I went 4-1 on TV, beat Jimmy Carr, probably the most famous comic in the world. I mean, the motherfucker plays arenas, and I got nothing out of it. So why would I help a show where Jeff still benefits from my hard work. No, thank you. Uh, yes, 100%, 100%. Uh, okay, so probably wait, hold on. Okay, so Lena was his wife from 91 to 97. She died in 90. Well, I mean, Carol Shelby, her name was Cynthia Shelby, so she was in there somewhere. Uh, Kip Smith, I mean, I don't watch roast battles, so I've never seen that battle before. I mean, Kim Congdon's an animal. Like, she battles like a dude. So, chicken, I like chicken. So, uh, Kim's a very good roast battle person. Um, I don't know, Shannon. I don't know. Well, I just, there's nothing. Um, to be honest with you, it's like if going 4-1 on TV and beating who I beat. I mean, really, probably my favorite win of roast battle was beating K. Trevor Wilson, who's like a Canadian icon. I beat him in Montreal, and I killed him, and I never got another season. And 3 people I beat got all 3 seasons. So it's like, why would I help that show out when at every turn they fucked me? Uh, so yeah, I mean, Luis J. Gomez for so many other. Yeah, I mean, I saw Lewis. Who did he battle? We did an untelevised season of roast battle right before my season. The year before, I think it was just, hey, let's throw enough shit against the wall and see what sticks. And he battled, I think, Alex Edelman, and it wasn't a good battle. And they're both really good comics, but like, yeah, I mean, Tard, if it was a very quick marriage, I mean, I mean, Shelby, well, I mean, he played golf with my dad. He was kind of a drunk, and I mean, I don't mean like that in a despairing way, but like I could see him being a pretty tough guy to be married to be frank. Um, she was a character, and then she just disappeared, man. I mean, I don't even know if she's alive. I haven't seen her. Uh, uh, I haven't seen her since, man, the mid '90s. She was staying at a hotel she's staying at a hotel in Century City, right by the AM/PM in Die Hard, and I don't know. I don't know what happened to her. Tony Falcone was a character, absolutely. Now, I've heard unconfirmed reports that Tony's alive, and I've heard unconfirmed reports that he's dead. So I don't know. Um, so this gangbang and others may have caused the divorce. I doubt it. I think they would have been divorced anyway. Lewis roast battle, yeah, but that's like, I don't really count those New York roast battles as battles. I mean, look at the one dude, Eli. He was a nice guy, but like he built up like this 12-0 record in roast battle. But he was literally battling his friends, being judged by his friends in his home club. And then the only battle that he had no control over was against Pat Barker in season 3. And he bombed so badly that Comedy Central pulled the battle off of television. Think about that. Comedy Central said, we can't air this. And I felt bad for Pat. He's a great roast battler, but Eli bombed so badly that Comedy Central was like, we can't air this. Um, yeah, 100% Kip Smith, 100%. Uh, I don't know about Feehan and her booty hole, but like, I think we're friends on Twitter. I think someone I think wanted me to go to New York to roast battle her. I'm like, I don't go a quarter mile from my house to roast battle anymore. You think I'm gonna hop on a plane to battle some girl I don't know? Get the fuck out of here. So Type her name in your favorite. No, I'm good. Thank you, Colt C. I don't need to type up. I'm sure she's great, but like I, you know, I'll live without her. See, I don't even know who Rob Thomas is, Shawnetta. But if you got any old '80s metal shirts, let me know. Um, I wouldn't want Whitney Cummings, but I want my well, I'm sure you can order a sex doll to look like, okay. See, I'm out of the loop. If it ain't '80s metal, I don't know, like, I've heard the name Rob Thomas, but, um, that you might as well tell me he was John Boy in the Waltons. That was Richard Thomas. My bad, my bad, my bad. So, was what at 3 AM, Cold C? I'm not typing in Karen's name. Santana was Santana there? I don't know, these questions. I don't know if they're for me or, Shawnetta. Who knows? You guys are, a live bunch in the stream tonight. I'll tell you that much. Carlos Santana or, Tito Santana? I was watching an old WWE clip, recently where, Jesse Ventura called, Tito Santana a taco vendor. Yeeks. Oh, okay, yeah, I know nothing about Matchbox, 20, so I'm a little lost in the sauce in that talk. We might as well just start talking about roast battle again. Chico, what are you, Scott Hall? So, man, they showed a clip the other day on Instagram of Scott Hall on the Jerry Springer show with two little kids who died of AIDS. Uh, and man, it was a tearjerker, man. Earl must be lonely. I am anything but lonely, Cold C. Just because I don't listen to Matchbox 20, don't let that fool you. Uh, yeah, I mean, that's the thing in comedy. You get the right backing, and really the world is yours. Dennis Woodruff stories. I see him every day at the Coffee Bean. I don't hate Bush, but I don't like them. He still's pitching his movie scripts. Uh, Ventura used to call Tito Chico. Yeah, that's like the tamest thing. Can you imagine the firestorm that would happen if you had an AEW or a WWE color commentator call a Mexican wrestler a taco vendor? Oh, did he pass today? Did Dennis Woodruff pass today? Oh man, that's a bummer. He is iconic in the LA community. I don't think too many people outside of LA would care. But you talk about the definition of never giving up. I mean, Dennis Woodruff. Let me look that up, man. That would be. I mean, I didn't really know him. I'd see him at Coffee Bean. We'd. Let me see here. Dennis Woodruff. Nothing online right now. I don't see anything right now. So hopefully you have bad intel. Not that I would be devastated if he died, but um, Quinn, do Stuttering John Melendez said he gave amazing time. We don't talk about the dabble land in here, Quinn. You know better than that. I mean, thank you, Kip, and he's a very nice guy, so he's one of the ones that I'm not really jealous of his success because he's so fucking nice. But I mean, comedy is a very unfair business. I mean, it's just people make it who shouldn't, people don't make it who should. Um, it's just it's you'll go crazy trying to figure it out. But that's really Hollywood in a nutshell. I mean, movies don't do well that should. Movies. Actors. I mean, look at we've talked about many actors on this stream. Michael Pare should have been a star. Instead, he's basically a common man, working actor. Um, Paul Land from The Idol Maker should have been a star. I mean, he could act. He was good looking. I think he quit the business 2 years later. Um, who else? I mean, Jenny Wright, who was on the Inappropriate Earl podcast. I mean, great actress, got off to a great start in Hollywood, and then just the business fucking ate her up. Yeah, I mean, absolutely. I mean, there's many. Shark Island was an '80s band that, in the mid '80s they were called the Sharks, and they ruled the Sunset Strip. I mean, there was not a more popular band than the Sharks, and then they morphed into Shark Island, and Axl Rose took a lot of his stage mannerisms from their singer Richard Black. Axl Rose is probably worth $500 million. Richard Black probably would play a bar mitzvah this weekend. I didn't really. Well, I did see the Joker, but I had no interest in seeing the Joker too. So Streets of Fire is great. I mean, Jenny should still be a working actress. Jenny, she's probably around my age, so she could play the hot mom or whatever. The Jennifer Coolidge stuff. But it just I don't follow Trey Crowder from Little. Yeah, I mean, but why is Randy O and Richard Black, just struggling to make a buck, and Axel's living in probably a $50 million home in Malibu? I did not see the original Beetlejuice, let alone the new Beetlejuice. The Joker. We don't talk about Brian Callen in here. Under any, you could super chat me $1,000. I would not talk about that guy. Okay, I mean, I have no interest in seeing the SNL movie. I mean, yes, we can talk Lance Henriksen and Bill Paxton all day long. So, but I mean, I'm just saying, Jenny Wright was, had the talent, she had the look, and just, I mean, look at, someone who had kind of a roast battle experience was Larry Wilcox from Chips, where, Don Johnson was not the first choice to play Sonny Crockett. I mean, he had already done like 5 failed TV pilots, and I think Brandon Tartikoff of NBC was like, I'm not fucking banking on this show being a hit because of that. And Larry Wilcox was kind of a hot star with Chips and whatnot. Even though I would say Eric Estrada was the bus driver on Chips, and Larry Wilcox was screen tested with all the tubs, including Denzel Washington, and was basically, if you believe him, told, hey, you're going to be Sonny Crockett on this show. And then I think someone really loved Don Johnson and said, hey, it's got to be Don Johnson. And they just told Larry Wilcox, sorry, bro. He didn't even gave a guest spot on any of the episodes. And Gary Cole was pretty close to getting the Don Johnson part. I'm an action movie guy, so something like Beetlejuice really isn't appealing to me, even though I'm a huge Michael Keaton fan. So yeah, well, maybe Barbara Streisand lobbed a phone call. I mean, I could, I mean, Pepe Serna, I could see as Izzy. I don't know if I could see. I mean, Philip Michael Thomas was so good as Tubbs that, but Pepe Serna was a very good looking guy, so it's not that I couldn't see him as Tubbs. But it's like on some unfair stuff. William Cott was almost Han Solo. Perry King screen tested as Han Solo. Uh, yeah, I think Pepe Serna was two different characters on Miami Vice, Zoom, if I'm not mistaken. We'll go 5 more minutes, kids. 5 more minutes. We've got people texting me in the middle of a stream. I don't know if I would believe that. Well, actually, I think the first choice for Han Solo was a black actor. If you are familiar with The Wire, he played the mayor. His name's Glenn Thurman. There are Bushman as Tubbs. You imagine how annoying he would have been if he had that kind of heat. I love James Bond. Actually, my favorite James Bond is Roger Moore. My two favorite James Bonds are The Spy Who Loved Me and Moonraker, which most James Bond fans don't like Moonraker, but they were trying to cash in on the Star Wars shit, so I get it. Um, I have not heard of that lady, Rebel. Well, I very much think though, and it's funny. I was just talking about this with someone last night. Uh, this girl who is in her late 20s, early 30s, and I was like, "Who?" I was just out of curiosity. I was like, "Who's your favorite James Bond?" And she's like, "Who's James Bond?" Like she didn't even know that she had no idea what I was talking about. And with someone in my past, uh, we got into a discussion. I was like, "Well, who's your favorite James Bond?" And she was like, "Daniel Craig." And who's your favorite James Bond? Roger Moore. So we agreed to show each other one Daniel Craig and one Roger Moore. And she showed me Casino Royale. I showed her Moonraker, and we both didn't like the other choice. So what up, Doom? I'm just about to end the stream, baby doll. Uh, oh yeah, 100%, 100% there, Dr. Nova. That's the great Michael Lonsdale, who I believe is still alive. He's got to be close to 100. And Jaws, his only speaking line in two James Bond movies. Here's to us. I kind of wish they didn't turn Jaws good guy. I kind of liked him as and the unstoppable guy. Now I think there was one more James Bond he was supposed to come back in. I don't think it was Octopussy. It might have been due to a kill, but I don't know, for some reason it didn't happen. If Earl was a Bond villain, he would be called Hograker. Um, I'm out, guitar. All right, Rabble. Thanks as always for chiming in. We got 2 more minutes. Yeah, that blonde girl. I mean, as a 10-year-old, I was like, my God, those tits. Uh-oh. So, but I loved the bad guys in the Roger Moore uh, James Bonds, like Kurt Jurgens as Stromberg. He was a great bad guy. And obviously Hugo Drax. He was kind of an Elon Musk type figure. Um, and the favorite Flair promo. It's my favorite Flair promo. Yeah, Carolyn Monroe. Oof. And I like the hotel clerk in Spy Who Loved Me. I don't know if she had big tits, but they really plumped them up to look like she had. That's the thing. None of the Bond girls had like giant tits. It was just a different aesthetic back then. And of course, Dr. Holly Goodhead, who looks just like Gail. If you've ever seen a picture of Lois's mom, uh, she always reminded me of Dr. Holly Goodhead. So my favorite Flair promo actually is with this man when they introduced Sid to the Four Horsemen, and that was when Sid was taking on RoboCop, and I think Arn Anderson was taking on Luger, and Flair was taking on Sting. And Flair is so coked up in this promo, and Barry Windham's blasted out of his mind. And of course, Chris Benoit's wife Nancy is in there, and Jim Ross. I mean, just look up Sid first promo Four Horsemen on YouTube, and it is so fucking funny. I love Timothy Dalton as well. He's probably my second favorite James Bond. But the problem with him, and it's the problem I have with Daniel Craig, is he's too good of an actor, and he played it straight. Like when you hear Eric Stoltz getting fired from Back to the Future because he was playing it straight, it's kind of what I imagine. Uh, Timothy Dalton and Jane. He didn't really do it with humor, and he was following Roger Moore, who was like the fucking funniest James Bond ever. So he just came off really stiff. But especially the one with Robert Davi, I really enjoyed Timothy Dalton as James Bond. Um, well, that's okay, Doom. That's half the reason I do it. No offense, Doom, but I don't provide content. I just have no interest in the Dabbleverse. I really don't. Um, and I get why it's popular. And you and Stalin 19 and My Lost Interest, you guys kill it with the clips. I just, I don't, I don't, like in some ways I get it, in some ways I don't. It's like Kill Tony. In some ways I get why it's so big, in others ways I don't get why it's so big. But maybe it's not for me to get why something is big or not. But I'm at the point in my comedy career that I don't talk about or do anything that doesn't make me happy. And talking about Stuttering John or Steel Toe, it don't make me happy because I have nothing to add to it. Like, and I've done this breakdown before, but we'll end on this breakdown. You at 6 a.m. Shuley starts. Melton usually is at 6 a.m. They go for a few hours, and Chad comes on, and then MLC comes on, and then Ray comes on, and I think Shuley comes back on, and then Bob Levy comes back on, and Steel Toe's on somewhere in there, and then Ray's on somewhere in there. It's so when I go on and start my stream at like I did tonight, what was it, 6 p.m. Whatever's been talked about, even if it's breaking news, is already old news. So, but it's all good. I mean, I get it, and that's why I get why my streams aren't exactly like financially giant killers, but it's just I made a decision to listen. I get it. You're not going to clip my AEW wrestling talk or talking about Michael Pere. Well, speaking of the devil, we've got two of the great clippers in the game, Doom and My Lost Interest. I mean, the Penguins, listen, it's not a very popular opinion, but they should trade Crosby and Malkin. They got no prospects. If they traded Crosby to a contender as well as Malkin, you'd have an instant A-plus farm system. You'd probably get right now anywhere from 2 to 5 number one draft picks, not number one overall, but you'd get 2 to 5 first round draft picks. You'd probably get another 2 to 3 second round picks. And bingo, your cupboard's completely restocked. I mean, you're not going to win with Crosby or Malkin. So you might as well put me in goal and lose. So yes, the Clippers, I know, but it's not a popular thing. But as someone who watched the Kings hold on, the Kings should trade Doughty, and it'd be sacrilege. I mean, Kopitar is still producing, but Doughty is not worth $11 million right now, and you could probably trade him to Toronto, get at least one first round pick, probably two, and a decent roster player. So I just you can't marry yourself to the players. You just can't because you'll just be stuck in mediocrity. I mean, Pittsburgh, when Crosby and Malkin are retired and they got nothing for them, they're fucked. Now, if you're Crosby and Malkin, you don't really care probably. Like, hey, that's on you guys. But I mean, Kyle Dubas, what can he do? I mean, who you gonna trade Jeff Carter? You gonna trade Ryan Graves and rebuild? So that's about it, kids. Earl Skakel over and out. Sorry, my lost interest. You're coming in on the back end. Doom. Sorry, we don't do like I can't do 5-hour streams like Win by Two and Melton. I just can't. Shawnetta, we don't talk about Diddy in here unless you want a super chat. We don't do that. We don't talk about Diddy and the Dabbleverse in here. So I love you all. Probably stream tomorrow night around. It's all good. Oh, I think Louis Anderson never played it straight. Boing. Hello. I love you all. Earl Skakel. Over and out.